Hey folks, it's Maxie here and welcome to another TEW2020 video. It's another double helping of AEW Dynamite as we're on the road to AEW Extreme Warfare at the end of the month. Hopefully it's a good show, and then hopefully a good second show. We are, as I say, slowly getting these storylines across, and yes, I say the end goal is eventually to challenge the WWE. But building some superstars on the way until we do that. So, as always, thanks for tuning in, for taking 10 minutes of your day to watch a video. If you want to get social, you know what to do. If you're just a lurker, you've never played TW yourself, you want to try it out, there's a link in the description up below to the demo and to the full version game, as well as all the real world mods, fantasy mods, and the Fantasy Booker subreddit, and of course, TEW2020.com. So without further ado, we shall jump in to another episode of AEW Wednesday Night Dynamite. So I was going to start the video and say there's a good chance we'll lose Pop in this episode because I'm trying to build some superstars up, or some wrestlers up. We're not WWE, so they're wrestlers here. And Hangman Page and Moxley, when talking about their match coming up at Extreme Warfare, bang out a sensational 96 rated promo. Wow. Especially when we believe that we've got tight focus on like our best promo is a lot of our rating. I hope that is the case because an 86 would absolutely really help that. So the people in the Macon Coliseum are going to be delighted with that as we build up for what's going to be a great match at the pay-per-view. Furthermore though, in that, Hangman then gets the better of Moxley by distracting him, and that allows the Butcher and the Blade to come out and just start beating up John Moxley. So a 57 rating here. As I say, we're really going in this push with the Butcher and the Blade. Age isn't on their side, overness isn't on their side, but I've enjoyed them in real life, so at the time of recording, let's keep pushing them on. So that 3-on-1 beatdown will lead to a matchup later on, but more on that as the show continues. Next up, we had a decent matchup that saw Darby Allin defeat El Lindaman in 5:43 by a coffin drop. This was a 65. This match was probably hampered by the tricep strain that Darby Allin has suffered, so hopefully that doesn't keep him out for too long. But in terms of a ring performance, far better than El Lindaman, and it was a match just to make Darby look really good, hence the great performance stood out. Thanks Jake, we already know that, and now El Lindaman has a bit of heat. Anyway, after this, Darby Allin continues the beatdown on El Lindaman, but it is Orange Cassidy who comes out and saves the day. He actually makes an effort, and Darby Allin runs for the hills. So still a bit more on this feud between Cassidy and Darby Allin in a 59 rated segment. Saw both of them come out looking good, apart from El Lindaman. Next up, we had a quick matchup, again just showing the brutality of Tomohiro Ishii, and Ishii defeated Kip Sabian in 5:22 with a vertical drop brainbuster. 55. Both guys lacking psychology means that this made a 5-minute match suffer, but it is what it is. That probably took it away for about a 60 rating, but we'll build it up over time. It just means we don't put Ishii in the long matches unless it's with someone with a very high psychology stat that can carry the match, but overall he's just here to really throw people about. Next up, we had a TNT Championship match, and I was going to call him Cesaro. Claudio Castagnoli has given Scorpio Sky an opportunity. He gave his old friend Kazarian an opportunity last week. Obviously, Kazarian and Sky have got a bit of issues, so he's decided you'll have an opportunity this week. And then about the good heat and decent wrestling, Castagnoli defeats Scorpio Sky in 13:57 with a neutralizer. So a third defence there. Both guys with a similar level of performance, meaning that also equaled the segment rating, and the championship is retained in this match. Next up, we had a matchup that didn't really work out well, but really we were just putting someone over. It was a poor matchup as Ricky Starks defeated Colt Cabana in 6:29 with a Buster Keaton. Showcase match, obviously Ricky Starks doesn't have great overness in this mod, so we have to build him up, and a little bit of time than to do it on television. Unfortunately, him and Colt didn't click. The crowd saw him as both jobbers, so we will take the hit, but hopefully we can build the crowd back up. And a 35 rated matchup here sees Ricky Starks pick up the win. After the matchup, it's just a little promo with Fatu, Cage and Starks, just again trying to get some of the Titans overness rubbing off onto Ricky Starks, with Camille in the background. Good to know though, in the 64 rated segment, the performance of Jacob Fatu was fantastic. Next up, with a quick matchup, Luchasaurus wins in 3 minutes and 32, a 40 rating. Glad to report his opponent has handed in his notice and he'll be leaving, so that's fine. We'll job out all the pop out of him that we can. A decent matchup. Nikki Storm and Chris Statlander defeated Awesome Kong and Nyla Rose in 8-12 when Statlander pinned Nyla Rose. A good 57 rating here. Nikki carried the matchup. A few reasons for this one. Trying to build up Chris Statlander, because obviously we've got Nikki that's way ahead of everyone. Then there's Awesome Kong, and then maybe Nyla, and then Chris Statlander's a wee bit further down, but she is next in line in terms of pop. So that's a benefit. Her and Nikki having great chemistry certainly helps, because it means any matchup or any segment's going to get a boost because of that. So I'm hoping we can eventually turn Chris Statlander. She's young enough that we've got plenty of time to develop her into a very, very good worker for AEW. Then a wee quick matchup that gave Proud and Powerful a victory over the Natural Nightmares in 7:37 when Ortiz pinned QT Marshall. 69 rated match, simply just to give Ortiz and Santana some overness, momentum. Just give them a W basically. And Dustin and QT fulfilling that role of putting people over. We then had another matchup that had decent wrestling and good heat, as Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara defeated the Best Friends in 12:01 when Chris Jericho submitted Chuck Taylor with the Walls of Jericho. Sammy Guevara carried the match, 60 rating. So I know Jericho and Sammy don't work as a team. I'll probably edit that chemistry because the Sex Gods works in real life, so it's taken away from real life storyline here, or real life something that does work. But what we're going for here is Jericho obviously was a bit of a downer because of the Inner Circle, but he's basically, if we cut to the promo, 83. So basically what I'm saying is Jericho's he's gonna give back to Sammy Guevara. Sammy never gave up on Chris Jericho when Chris Jericho was down, so Jericho wants to help Sammy Guevara and help launch his career to superstardom. So they're going to go after the Tag Team Championships. An 83 rated segment. Just what the product is that Jericho will always have fantastic promos, but the in-ring stuff is really going to suffer just because of the product. But hopefully some of that overness can rub off onto Sammy Guevara. Then at the backstage, Jon Moxley pops into the Young Bucks and they basically say, hey, I see you've got a problem with the Butcher and the Blade, and Hangman, we've got a problem with the Butcher and the Blade. We can kind of have a bit of power around here, we can make matches. 6-man tag main event. So 79 rated segment, we have a main event of Hangman Page, the Butcher and the Blade against Jon Moxley and the Young Bucks. And that matchup was just a 78. It had great wrestling and good heat. As Moxley and the Young Bucks defeat Hangman Page and the Butcher and the Blade in 11:51 when Moxley pinned the Blade with the Death Rider. The Butcher was a weak link, so obviously in terms of in-ring performance they're going to be way behind. We did get the note before the show that we used them too much, but you got to give them opportunities. So a 78 is not terrible. I thought honestly Moxley and the Bucks would carry this. Hangman had a good showing at 77, but you just see the completely different level that the Bucks and Moxley are at when Jon Moxley can get a 92 off his game. So delighted with that, and we finished the show with Hangman getting the advantage on Jon Moxley. The Bucks and the Butcher and the Blade are fighting away, and Hangman Page puts Moxley through a table for an 83 rated segment. So Hangman getting the upper hand in this feud. Overall, just a 75, and we increased our popularity in 21 regions. I'm actually wondering if it is worth me changing the product, at least when it's rated on, to similar to WWE. So I just need to get my best promo and then put all the pressure in the main event, although sometimes that can backfire when it's not Moxley in the main event. But main thing is 21 regions is gaining popularity, and we get a wee bit of exposure to the Butcher and the Blade as we continue to build him up. But as I say, this saves more about like just getting the storylines over, and obviously everything's written out that I need to try and get with. I didn't get it for Scarlett. I didn't really see anywhere we could put her in. Raquel Gonzalez we ain't going to chase. Aria Davari. Nah, there's no really anybody there I really particularly want to go after. Stu Grayson gets a new contract, or at least a pay rise, 75%, that's fine, that'll keep him happy. So Miro is back, so we'll try and fit Miro into a storyline thanks to his surgery. He's here a bit quicker. Fit Finlay, David Finlay says that Ricky Starks is doing good stuff in the ring, because we hired him as a road agent, so we'll try and push him, that's the plan. And with a 2.60 TV rating for Dynamite. So that's not too bad, we'll check that Darby Allin injury, see how long he's out for. But size wise, we're in a good position, we're not really rushing. As I say, it's good to gain pop in regions, but the reality is, we are just getting storylines along. And at the end of the day, if we want to get to WWE's size, it's maybe better that when we get there, this is as good as possible, so we need to obviously keep making sure we're making profit. That's obviously going to be a big thing as well. We're obviously still a few months to go before we're a full year in, so we started at 10 million, we kind of mucked up the first couple of wee bits, but you can see their ticket sales have continued to increase, and then the change in pay-per-view has bulked us up right away. So obviously that was one of the earlier patches, and at the time of recording that's at 1.18, which just came out yesterday, as I recall. So last time we'll check before we get ready for the second episode will be, there is a Darby Allin 60, so that's fine, he'll be back for the pay-per-view, so he might be able to work, well he can work, none has been worked through, so no issues there. So you can see there, 16 days for Brie Priestley, a year, 2 months and 3 weeks for Shima, 6 months and 3 weeks for Dr. Britt Baker, and 19 days until MJF is back. So that's part 1, let's get ready for part number 2. So second show took place at Normal, Alabama, with 4 people thankfully taking us over the attendance of 9,000. We actually started off straight off the bat with some tag team action, straight into a match, and it was a good matchup that saw the former tag team champions, the Lucha Brothers, defeat the Best Friends in 13:48 when Pentagon Jr. pinned Chuck Taylor with the top rope Styles Clash. A 76, stellar performance from Penta and Rey Fenix, both with 87 in-ring performances, but a good victory here. Gives them momentum, and it's not looking good for Best Friends. Quite a lot of defeats recently. Just other tag teams are over in a more stacked division. This does lead to Cody coming out. He does confirm that he doesn't have anything at the moment for himself at Extreme Warfare. If time constraints allow, he will look at an open challenge, so he'll keep an eye out on that. But most importantly, he is an AEW guy, he's a company guy, and he's announced that the Lucha Brothers will get their rematch for the Tag Team Championships. So heels versus heels, and they will take on the champions, the Titans, Brian Cage and Jacob Fatu. That was a 66 angle. We then looked into a matchup that was extremely short as Darby Allin defeated Brandon Cutler in 4:16 with a coffin drop. Not too much to say here, win for Darby Allin, a loss for Cutler. 53 rated, and Darby Allin comes out of it looking $1 million. That's all you kind of want from this type of matchup. Other Dark Order member Brody Lee cuts a promo, and he's basically saying on behalf of Darby Allin, Orange Cassidy, you got very lucky the last time he faced Darby Allin, but at Extreme Warfare, Darby will get his revenge, and the Dark Order will stand tall with victory. Next up, we had some 6-women tag action, because I say we are going to have a stacked division shortly. So it is all about getting in the best position possible. And a poor matchup saw Chris Statlander, Nikki Storm and Deonna Purrazzo defeat the team of Awesome Kong, Killer Kelly and Leva Bates in 7:37 when Statlander pinned Leva Bates. In terms of in-ring work, Nikki Storm head and shoulders above the rest. A 53 performance is okay. Still not thrilled with Deonna, but the rest of them seem to be fairly over at the moment in time, and it's just about getting some of them to that next level to build up the rematch, because Nikki's never pinned Awesome Kong. Awesome Kong just beats her up, destroys her, and that 61 rated segment has people kind of doubting, can Nikki Storm finally pin Awesome Kong? Next up, we had a match that had a decent reaction from the crowd in subpar wrestling. as we continue to make sure everyone's got good momentum going into the pay-per-view, as Tomohiro Ishii defeats John Silver in 6:47 with a vertical drop brainbuster. This one didn't struggle with psychology, but 55's good, and Ishii with a better in-ring performance to John Silver. This does lead to Lance Archer coming out, and he basically says, bullying the AEW roster is my gig, so I don't particularly take to you copying what I'm doing. So with Jake Roberts cunningly looking in his, behind him, they have challenged Ishii to a one-on-one match at Extreme Warfare this Saturday. Next up was a tag team match that a lot of people didn't particularly care about, and it was about that had not a lot of heat, terrible wrestling. It was the Butcher and the Blade defeated Austin Gunn and Michael Nakazawa at 9:31 when the Blade pinned Austin Gunn with a neckbreaker. 34, not great. Austin has a lot of pop in this. I don't know if he's just shared that from his dad, but obviously we're going to take some of that off him because we don't need him just now. And we're fully invested in pushing the Butcher and the Blade. Good performance from Blade, but we still need to get those over. And it did turn the crowd off a little bit because we weren't really invested in any workers. We'll get them to care about the Butcher and the Blade, hopefully, at one point. Because after the match-up, the Young Bucks cut a promo on the Butcher and the Blade, and they just basically say how they're going to kick their ass and have the match of the year when they face them this Saturday. That was 83 rated. We then had an extremely short match-up that Tyler Bate won in 4:55. That was a 46 rated match-up. Just really giving Tyler Bate a bit more momentum going into Saturday. And it was basically him being... It's a weird one. The text isn't great on this, but basically it's Pac goes to attack Tyler Bate and he fails, but the text and the angle messed up basically. Because basically, obviously, you get success and failure of the segment, and the success goes with Tyler Bate. So if we use our imagination, Tyler Bate is the one that's in the match. Pac tries to attack him, but Tyler Bate attacks him, sends him flying. Tyler performed poorly, which is maybe just his overness compared to Pac, who has a gimmick that is getting stale. But good to know that Pac is here for a long time with that new contract signed and sealed. Next up, we had a bout that had a decent reaction from the crowd, the common theme. In Subpar Wrestling, as Les Sex Gods defeated Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela in 7:49 when Jericho pinned Sonny Kiss with the Judas effect. In terms of in-ring work, Guevara above the rest and Sonny Kiss the weakest, but we're building people up so they'll get opportunities. So a 56 was the overall for the matchup. Don't worry about Jericho and Guevara, as I say, they're timing all over the place. I'm either going to edit that or it'll be a short-lived tag team because they work well in real life. They have their promo and they say this Saturday they're going to end Private Party and cement their position as one of the top tag teams in AEW. Jon Moxley then has a promo on Hangman Page, a rare poor one from Moxley, as he didn't do well without the script, so that was 80. Just saying he's going to get his hands on Hangman Page this Saturday, and he's going to get revenge and issue a World of Hurt for when Hangman put Moxley through a table. The main event matchup had fantastic heat and great wrestling, and had Jon Moxley defeat Brian Cage in 14:20 when Brian Cage was disqualified when Hangman ran in and attacked Jon Moxley. So an 81, which could have been even better with a lack of psychology, maybe took it down for about 84. But overall, pretty strong. It keeps Brian Cage strong, it keeps Moxley strong, it gives Hangman a bit of heat. And we finished the show. Cage is unhappy, so he's beating down Moxley. Obviously his tag partner runs in, Fatu. Ricky Starks is in that alliance as well, so he's jumping in. And while Hangman isn't aligned with them, he still sees it as an opportunity where he can beat down Jon Moxley. So 76 rating there. Moxley and Page came out of it looking good. Ricky Starks did not, but a good spotlight for Ricky Starks. So we get a 79, which increases their popularity in 31 regions. I did change my product, which now focuses 90% on the main event, so the fact that delivered an 81 is positive, plus our highest angle as well, which was an 83 from the Bucks, so that's going to help us ensure good rating here, and we'll grow in a lot more regions. So as we go back to the main screen, I'm just going to run through the card for the upcoming event. So we'll have the Young Bucks take on the Butcher and the Blade. We'll have Tomohiro Ishii take on Lance Archer. Private Party will take on the Sex Gods. The tag titles are on the line as the Lucha Brothers challenge the Titans. If there's time, Cody will have an unnamed opponent. There'll be a triple threat match for the TNT Championship with Claudio Castagnoli defending against Scorpio Sky and Kazarian. It might go to a fatal 4-way, I'm still to decide on that, but I think it will be a triple threat. Someone might pop up in the next few days. Nikki Storm defends the championship against Awesome Kong. Tyler Bate takes on Pac. And for the AEW World Championship, Jon Moxley defends against Hangman Page. So a fairly strong card, and that's really possibly without Kenny Omega and Cody in action. Anything there? Brandon Tate's got an injury. New tag team in NXT. Tully Blanchard says that Tyler Bate is turning into a good worker. Good stuff. And a 2.63 on our rating. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. We are now into Extreme Warfare, and then after that it'll be the couple episode build towards AEW Revolution. So thanks for watching, stay safe, and hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye bye.